All right, greetings. So I'm going to start this one off, and it's going to be probably several. I'm just being led to talk about divine love, and so I'm going to start with the movie Daughters of the Dusk by Julie Dash. There's a scene in there where the couple in Daughters of the Dust is about the Gullah community off the coast of South Carolina. It's one of my favorites. I think it's just amazingly beautiful film, and it's one of those that I absolutely love. But there's a scene where the couple are struggling. They have this baby, and she was actually raped, so the husband is struggling with if this is his child, and all of this. And but anyway, the little girl spirit is talking about how she came to be, and mama and daddy had this issue, and that is my soul's journey. It really is. I was called out of the heavens. I was called out of the heavens by my father. And my father and mother were absolute soulmates. They were divine love. They were sacred. My father saw my mother for the first time in Andre Crouch's Father's Church, Bishop Crouch in Los Angeles. And the moment he laid eyes on her, he knew that she was his wife. And that thing didn't happen suddenly. They had to go through things, and he had to kind of battle with her family. She was some kind of royalty or something, I guess, in the church. My daddy was royal in his spirit. He knew that. So he was not afraid. And what God gave to him, he knew it was his, and he didn't let nothing stop him. But this little small snapshot of their love, but it was incredibly divine. And I got to hear stories. I got to, hear the beginning, and then I was able to see her laying on her deathbed, and they had been divorced and friends and that sort of thing, but I hadn't seen that special love that they had until that moment. And it was a moment I was in the bathroom, and the mirror it wasn't anything that they were keeping away from me. I wasn't spying or anything like that. But I was there in the room, thank you God. And in the bathroom, in her bathroom mirror, you could see the bed, and he was on his knees at her bedside. I later learned that she was asking him for forgiveness because the marriage was broken, and he wanted it to work it out, and she didn't. She was done and ready to go, and so she was asking him for forgiveness, and they were there singing. He was singing church songs and beautiful spirituals to her, and it was like, it was heaven. But my daddy, he called me out of the heavens. They had 2 children, a son and a daughter. They were 7 and 6. I think about 10, 11 months apart. So they were back to back. They were almost like twins. And son and daughter, they were pretty much, they were finished. My mama was done. It was enough for her. And but the marriage was coming to an end. And my daddy said, let's try for one more baby. Let's have a baby and see if this helps us. And so he prayed, and ta-da! Jill is here. Yeah, I came from soulmates, from divine mates who the marriage didn't end, ended, but the love, eternal, absolutely, completely eternal love. And forever and ever and ever, amen. And I can share little things about that as well, but I'm not sure if that's where this part is headed. wow, I got kind of thrown off because their journey is so incredibly beautiful. But of course, it's a mixture of my own personal journey. Um, and I'm kind of led here because it's so much on the internet about, divine love and twin mate, twin flames, and all of these things. And it's just a lot. And it's a lot of murkiness and all of that. So I guess I could say, just to share, I mean, you really have to pray and seek that thing out within, because there is so much noise out there about true love, divine mate. And I'm not saying that your noise might not be noise for me. It's just that you really got to know what's going on within, and what does God say about it? What is God saying about it? What is it all about? For you, for me, my spirit is. I was called out of the heavens. My soul was prayed out to save love. So that's a real thing. I come from an inspiration out of my Father, the hope and desire to save His divine love. Huh? So remember, that goes back to know yourself. I can go back to that space. I mean, that moment even before time, from the story that my father shared about me, about his desire for me to come. That's how deep it is. And I don't know all of what it's completely about. I'm walking this thing out, right? Like the rest of us. But there's a reason, why I'm even sitting here on this tape, feeling like it's so important for me to do. I don't know why. I really don't. I really don't. But I'm doing it because I'm feeling led to do it. But I really was. I was, sitting here for that. And then they decided to call it quits. So, what a heavy trip for, maybe even my soul to feel. What a heavy trip, right? And then once they share that story with me, I think I heard it for the first time, though I was in my 20s, my early 20s, I believe, maybe just out of high school. And then to feel like it didn't work. I don't know. It never was here, but it may have been somewhere in here, right? Because things happen. But I know it's deeper than that. Much deeper than that. And then the beauty of it, and I think the reason why I say this, and excuse me because I am kind of all over the place in my mind and in my spirit with this thing, because it's really deep. But I think there was probably some soul kind of things happening that I was maybe having some issues with. I don't know, but it's very deep that, and I was the only one in the room to actually witness the moment that they connected in their hearts. They reconnected in their hearts in a way that they hadn't been in, in that space for. They divorced when I was 2 years old, and so they hadn't been in that space for about, 50. Well, no, not that long, about 40 something years. I was 40 years old when my mama passed away. So, but that in itself, I have to look there, in terms of my mission. When you hear about what was going on before the conception, and it was all tied into divine love and saving true love, and all of that. Come on now. And then you have all of these things inside of you that, you know, you really don't make the connection, but then you realize, wow, man, this is heavy. You know, like I'm like writing movies and all of that, and having dreams and visions, and things are being prophesied to me even about this true love and this divine love. So my mom and daddy, and I'm really going to get into that story, I think, on another tape. But that's not really where I'm headed to right now. But let me just let this thing flow. One of my greatest inspirations, besides my mama and daddy, is true love. Not the institution of marriage that it didn't survive, that sort of thing, but the love, the real love that locked in. It was set. It was before time. And together would have been absolutely incredibly amazing. The one thing that I will say about, like, I never want a divorce. That's why if it's you know, a few years, and I don't want that. I want some time. You know, I want to put in some time in a union, and just take that thing all the way, like Notebook. You know, like Notebook. That's another one of my favorites. As a matter of fact, I had a dream about a lucid dream. Rachel McAdams, or what have you, the actress who played in Notebook. She played me in one of my dreams. After my daddy died, I was her running around a big house in the South with my daddy. Anyways, I'm all over the place. But I'm going to share this because it's real. But it's real. But one of my greatest inspirations besides my mama is Alice and John Coltrane. Coltrane is like, he's my absolute forever musician in the world. He is the one. He's the one that hits my spirit. Even before I knew, you know, his whole movement, he would hit my spirit and just like, he'd give me peace. You know, he'd take things out of my mind. His music settle me down like a cup of tea and candles and a good book does the same, or sitting by the ocean and, you know, nature. I can put on Coltrane no matter where I am. I don't care how dark it is, and my spirit will shift. Things in my soul just shifts. And so to understand his spiritual walk, I get it. And next to him is Miles, though. So I say, you know, I know that song, you know, is Difficult Loving Too. I always feel like I'm kind of cheating on Coltrane with Miles, but Miles is so bad that it's like, man, Coltrane, but you know, but Coltrane is the one. He's the winner. He is the one. But Alice Coltrane and John and Alice, special, special, special love. And I get them. I get them like, Alice speaks like my daddy spoke, but my daddy was, you know, a man, and my mama was that way too, but, you know, they did a whole different thing, but they never remarried. My father remarried for about 2 minutes. I mean, literally 2 minutes, and it was like annulled. Because he was a dude just running from the pain of losing my mama. And then my mama never remarried, but she had some special guys in her life, you know, and so, because she was so beautiful. But, you know, when I really learned about their love and all, I got it. And they were a lot like Alice and John, and a lot like, you know, what I would be, because will be. I don't ever want a divorce, you know, so I can't settle. And I think that's why it's been very few, because I know that there's a sacredness, a sacred mate inside. I've had the dreams and the visions um, and things have been prophesied. So it was confirmation, and and so much more that I'll get into as well. But I have my own personal journey, and it's not something that I've heard online or read about, or all of a sudden, oh my God, this is what it is. And really, no. I mean, I don't like the fact that 20-year-olds are looking at this whole twin flame information thing and thinking that the dude that they're with is, oh, because they're so in love, is that one. Man, we got to go through some stuff. For some of us, no. Like my mama and daddy, my daddy was like, there she is. But I could see, oh my God, if I had done that with my first love, it would have been like, no. No. No, and no, and no. Although I knew that there was this special thing inside of me, and he is out there, and he's there, and um, I go through relationships trying to get the best that I possibly can. I mean, I wrote a journal. I created this journal for him that to help him understand me, because I am very complex, but experiences, and some dudes don't want to hear about your experiences, you know. Um, but if he got into some trouble where he just really wasn't connecting or understanding, he had this book to go to about me. You know what I mean? Sometimes we do that same thing over and over again. I'm trying to be better. I'm working at being better. But if this thing is still here, that dude probably experienced it over here too. And please understand. Let's make it. So that was why I did this journal for him, this one. I prayed for him and all of that, and I know he is real. But back to John Coltrane and Alice. I mean, Coltrane has had his experiences. I'm not sure about how much Alice had, but in relationships before John. But once they met, it was everything. She was, after he passed away, she was celibate for the last 30 years of her life, and her whole life, just, she gave it all completely to God from that point on. And she was like, for what? I've had the best. I've had the absolute best. He was, you know not like Jesus, but something you say about Jesus. It was like what you hear folks say about that relationship, um, that couldn't nobody come close to even his shadow. That's what Alice put on John. She was like, so if you can't even mess with his shadow, I would really be wasting your time and mine. I've had the absolute incredible, the ultimate best. And that's how my daddy spoke about my mama. And so as much as it is here, I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for him, because not only he got in his back, he loved his mama too. He absolutely loved his mama. And she was young when she had a 14 or so, and they were best friends. And she died young, so that was the first time that I saw him cry and at her funeral. And so yeah, he got back in her arms, his mama's arms, and my mama's. But that's the kind of love that I feel in my soul. And I think it's um, the one thing that I'm good with it. There's things that I certainly have to work through, and you wonder, God, well, if you're feeling all this, where is he? Because there's things I got to work through. Because I do believe our mission is far greater than just having this physical connection, and that's one of the reasons why I can't do the settling thing. We don't really have to spend a whole lot of time, because I do have the relationship with God continuously working on. on it, getting closer and closer and closer. And the importance, the relationship with myself, absolutely comfortable, but working through my dark sides and all of that. So linking up with a guy, I understand, with a man, the one, and I say the one, um, because God put it in my soul to say that and to know that. Um, and the others are experiences. It's experiences to help me grow, just like with any other experience. Me meeting a dude, or a woman on a bus, or having dinner um, at a restaurant with somebody, and it's relationships, right? But there's a special union, and some folks don't believe that, but um, I've experienced and watched the greats, the great loves, and it was two, and specially made, and so that's the experience that I have here, that's been given to me. Um, I'm going to go back and kind of start from my beginning. So here I am, this baby, you know, soulfully prayed for to help save, but you're 2 years old and it didn't happen. But, I'm sure people were, my daddy was in love and happy, and, for a minute probably feeling like, okay, we're going to make it. And then things shake down. There's no change. My mama had a big calling, and so did my daddy. Um, but my mama's calling required my father to shift. He was going to have to shift. But it also was a time that, as my mama was shifting, um, uh, it was during the feminist movement and Dr. Spock raising kids, and all of this stuff was coming in our home, and it was much different than anything that my father would agree would ever agree to. And so it was all that noise, as well as my mama stretching out, for her own call. And so I'm gonna stop this because my battery's running out, and I'm gonna come back.